What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture, doing a video discussing CBC, CGCS, and the current state of the grading company yet again. Now, here's the very interesting thing about the topic that we're going to bring up today. This news is now 5 days old coming from CBCS, and that is that they changed their pricing again. This is the second price change that they did in just the recent months, and nobody is talking about it. We've had 2 price increases from CGC over the last year. Each time that happened, everyone went gung-ho. Now, we know that CGC is still the #1 grading company in terms of consumer demand, but it seems interesting that nobody even bats an eye when CBCS does something. But we're going to get into this video. We're going to break this down. I'm going to give you my personal opinion on what I think this means for CBCS and CGC and the grading industry in general. If you are subscribed to the channel, please take some time to do so. Check out all the links in the description below as well, including the link to today's sponsor, popculturezone.com. Check them out for all your online comic book purchasing goodness. We will have a 60-second clip at the end of the video for you guys to check out and learn more about them as well. But let's just get into this. So 5 days ago, CBC made this announcement about increasing their prices again. And I actually waited for somebody to talk about it, and I didn't hear absolutely anything. So, and a big shout out to patron of the channel, Tony, for bringing this up to my attention and saying, Chris, you got to talk about this. And I said, you know what? I already had it planned. This was their Facebook page just saying that they made this announcement, express pricing change. We're going to go over to their website here. Now, here's a very interesting thing. We're going to go back over here. When CGC made their changes, they made a statement. They made a statement on their website. They made a statement on their Facebook, on their Instagram, and they explained what was changing, what was increasing, and why they were doing it. Here, we get nothing. We have an update to our express service pricing. Check out the website for details, but where are the details? If you go into the services, there's no details expressing exactly what changed. Now, if you go into the actual homepage of the website, all right, let's see if anything pops up. Who are we? Services provided, our mission, free graders notes, nothing. There's nothing that leads me to say like a direct link that explains what's going on. Now let's look at the banners here and see if there's anything. I don't even know how do you scroll to the next banner right here like this. Okay. Nope. Shield products. Oops. Didn't want to do that. Let's go back here. Beckett's hiring. Verify signature program. Nothing here. Look at these tabs, and I gotta say this isn't the best website to navigate through. News and events. Let's look there. News and events. Let's see. Nope. Just events, news, hero cons, expos. Nope. How about forum? Forum turnaround. CBC pressing update. 3 days ago, 7 days ago. Forum name change. Nope. Nothing. There is nothing. So it says go to their website for details. What details? Well, you go to their pricing and, well, of course, they got the new pricing. Can I click on? No. And here's the thing, folks. It doesn't even break down like, okay, what is express? How does it express differ from standard? Now, I know that it's basically their fast track, but there's nothing explaining that here, right? So you'd have to go actually to express and go to pricing. Now, let's see what comes up here. CBCS taking leadership. And ship on time. Nope, nothing about increases in pricing. But it tells you here how, like, basically Express is a fast track. It's like their way of saying fast track. Keep in mind, though, folks, when you go to CGC, they have an Express service. They're not the same, so don't get confused. If you're shopping around If you want to go to CBCS or CGC, their use of the word express is completely different. Express is basically their own tier, and it's more focused on value, although you do get a fast turnaround time with it, but they're basically bundling those two things together. Where for CBCS, Express is basically just their expedited service for any tier. All right. So let's go back to their pricing range here. And again, so there is nothing here. There's nothing that shows me what's increased, what's changed, and why. So that right there is a huge red flag. So I'm looking at this as, well, life after Steve Borak, and so far, not good in my humble opinion. And look, with all of CGC's issues as of late, with all of their changes, I've been harsh on CGC, and I said that this is a good opportunity for CBCS to come through and say, we want to make our name known now, and we want to gain more of this market share. Well, so far, not looking good. And believe me, with the latest, one of the latest things that CGC announced, where they're keeping that stuff, the certain stuff off of the labels. I did a video on that. You guys can go check that out. Oh my gosh. I was like, CGC, you're really shooting yourselves in the foot. Now, it's like one week from the next, it's like they're trying to up each other. And again, big shout out to friend of the channel, Michael, for saying, when CGC came out with that, oh, we're going to hide this stuff from the labels, and we're going to, charge a annual fee for you to have access to graders notes. Hold my beer, CBCS. Now, CBS is telling CGC, hold my beer. Because now I'm going to come back and increase our prices, and I'm not even going to give you the details why or make it even understandable for the standard customer wanting to come and use our services. Let's look at the numbers though, folks. First off, this is a recent change that they did too, and I don't know specifically when they changed it. They split up their modern tier. Modern now only goes up to 2,000, and they have a new tier that starts at 2001, which makes absolutely, well, look, here's what I'll say. Maybe they're able to maybe the grading process is different, because when you think about what happened around 2000, well, you went to the magazine type pages and got more further and further away from the newspaper stock, right? Although in the 90s, there were still some books that had the magazine. So this doesn't really make sense to me. It doesn't. Maybe it has to do with just, I don't know, expediting a certain type of book, that where they're thinking they could get more business from people that are just submitting books from over the last 21 years. I don't know. So recently, their entire modern tier was $18. Then they split this and they did a price change, and it went up to $20. Now their modern tier from 75 to 2,000 is $24. Here's the problem I have with that. If you go over to CGC, look at what their modern tier is. $24. CBCS is already second best to CGC in the majority of the consumer's eyes. To the market, CBCS does not meet the quality standards of CGC. And now you're not being competitive for your modern tier because it's basically the same price. You're being competitive for now 2001 to current. Okay. Let's look at this. Express. So we know that Express is basically your modern tier. Okay. Fast tracked. $60. 35 plus 15. Oh, excuse me, that's free. 24 plus 15 for CGC. That is $39. That's $21 cheaper. But check this out. You can even do pre-1975 for cheaper. That's only $50 with the fast track. What would that be at CBCS? Vintage tier? $80. $80. You'd be paying $80 with CBCS, where you could be paying $50 with CGC. Unbelievable. Now, here's the one kind of gray area, or something that you need to pay attention to: value. Those prices for CGC only go up to $400. So if you have a modern book, right, that is up to $400, or even a pre-modern book, pre-1975, whose value is at the $400, you're going to be paying a lot less than you are with CBCS. But if you have a book that has a value of $600 and $999, or excuse me, $401 to $999, you're going to be bumped up to the standard tier for CGC. So no matter if it's pre-1975 or post-1975, it doesn't matter. If it's $401 to $1,000, you're going to be paying $80. So what does that mean? Well, if I have a modern book that is, say, $800 value, and I don't want it fast tracked, I'm still only paying $24. So that's a huge value saver for CBCS. But if I want it expressed, which you automatically get with here, you get a similar, I think CBCS is like 14 days right now. This is 21 days. Standard still is more like a fast track, okay, including their express. So you're only paying $20 more with CGC, where you would be paying $60 here. But for vintage, again, you're paying the same amount. You're paying $80 with CBCS, and you're paying $80 with CGC. Now let's go into the what they call Super Express. Let's go into what they call Vintage Plus, and that basically pertains to the value. So this is for anything above 1,000 and under the, or at the 5,000 mark. So from $1,001 to 5,000, depending on if you want it done standard with standard turnaround time, it's $80, right? You don't get any fast track service. What does CGC charge? Well, they only go up to 3,000, and they're charging $130. So already you're saving a lot of money with CBCS. Express, you're saving $10, but Express Plus is where it starts going above CGC. But remember, if it's anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000, you're still saving money because CGC only goes up to 3,000. So, and I know it's probably tough for you guys to look at each of these things and take in all the numbers. And if you're not a numbers person, you're probably like, Chris, you're hurting my head here. But the point is, there are still ways that you could save money with CBCS, and it really sits in that area of more valuable books. But when it comes to their modern tier, including their new tier with fast track, and I know a lot of people that have been waiting for a year from CBCS right now. So you wanted to knock CGC about turnaround time. CBCS is having the same issues. I just don't see it. I don't see it for me. I can't justify this. Now, remember, grading companies offer multiple things. They're not just a grading company. They do offer a product. They offer a service and a product. Everyone that says, oh, they're doing the same thing, they should have a 9.8 and this book should be the same no matter if it's CBCS or CGC. No, because still, even if the grading is the same, which it's not, it's a different product. It's a different label. It's a different case. So they offer, they differentiate themselves. So it's just like if you're going to buy a stereo, one may look different or have different, or how about a car? You're looking at a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla. Well, they offer very similar things in terms of the quality and the standard of the vehicles, right? But maybe one looks different and you like the look better than the other. That, right? Maybe one's interior design looks different than the other and you like that better. That's a differential that you're going to base your purchasing decisions on just because of the product. You like one better simply because of the aesthetics. But grading, as we know, in the grading process is not only subjective, but it's going to be different with each company because, first off, we don't even know what they are because they keep them secret. We don't even know how they come to the grades that they come to. So I'm not advocating that these prices need to be, it needs to be equal across the board. They need to be competitive because they are different. And it is perceived right now, it is perceived that CGC is the better company to go to for many reasons. But the most important reason is secondary market value. And it's only that way because of perception, not because of any real, feasible factor or variable. It's a perception issue that allows us to say, we want CGC because it gets more money on the secondary market. It's all about perception. It doesn't really exist. It's made up, but it's real because we believe it. So CBCS does not have the market share because of that. I don't see them gaining market share without having more of a competitive price advantage. And by them raising their prices and being more expensive than CGC, even if only in certain tiers, eliminates their competitive advantage. It does, in my humble opinion. Now, I'm not saying that CBCS doesn't have other advantages. Some people like CBCS's cases better. Some people like the way CBCS grades better than CGC. Some people do. And I still think that CBCS has great ability to not necessarily catch up to CGC or take over, but they do have the ability of gaining ground. It's a ever evolving market, but I think that CBCS should have took advantage of CGC's price increases, and I think they could have been more competitive. They could have raised their prices and still been cheaper than CGC. And I think that would have been the smart thing to do. Even if it was only $1 or $2 cheaper than CGC, that's where I think they should have hit the ceiling. So you got a few things going on right now. You got CBCS having its own issues with wait times, and I think what they're trying to do right now with upping their express is that they're trying to do what CGC, I think, was trying to do when they were getting bottlenecked. If more people start submitting fast track orders, their standard orders can be pushed through faster and quicker. And it eliminates the bottleneck for those standard entries or submissions. And then they can hire and pay more money for more staff to fast track or expedite their express orders. Makes sense? But again, there's so many other variables of why people won't send to CBCS and will send to CGC. CGC is doing a lot of good things right now. They just made a recent announcement as well. I'm not going to get into that right now. I haven't studied the details on it. But they have been actually getting better with their turnaround times over the last couple of months. So they're turning that around. But then they did the thing with the label change, and that's left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. Probably a lot of people went over to CBC because of that. But now, boom, this, I don't know. We shall see. My final thoughts on this today, folks. Again, if you're shopping the big two, there are other options out there, but if you're shopping the big two, make sure that you understand their tiers. Their tiers aren't black and white, okay? A lot of it has to do with value. So make sure if you have a modern book and it's worth over $500 or over $1,000, compare value. Don't just look at, it's a modern tier. I'm going to send to CBCS because it's $24. Well, it's over $1,000, so it's gonna be put into this Vintage Plus tier right here. So you really got to look at value to see where you would be saving money with each company if that's what matters to you. Value also matters about turnaround times, because remember, CGC package deals, they're standard and express. You're basically getting an expedited, fast-tracked turnaround time just by hitting these tiers because of the value of the book. So you got to remember those things. But it's going to boil down to why you're sending in your books, folks. Are you sending in it because you really are fixated on secondary market value and you really want to probably flip this for the short term? Do you care about the aesthetics more? Are you concerned about turnaround time? Are you just trying to save money? These things are what you're gonna have to ask yourself. But then you have other options like EGS. EGS offers a faster turnaround time. EGS is also getting their own proprietary cases real soon, and that's gonna take a lot of people to really look at them as a third player in this market. They also offer those custom labels, so if people care about aesthetics, that could be something as well. They're also more transparent with their grading process, so if you like that, then hey, there you go. There is PGX, and I don't like to bash PGX, but I'm not a proponent of PGX. I'm all about allowing people to make amends and evolve and overcome. I haven't seen it with PGX. I would not trust them with my books, and that's just me. But hey, maybe you guys have had a different experience, and PGX is definitely cheaper than the other companies. Their current labels aren't that bad. So you got to really, again, that's up to you guys. You have options. CGC doesn't have a monopoly, folks. You have options. But again, I just think this is bad timing on CBCS's part. If they wanted to increase their prices, they should set a ceiling to where all tiers should have been competitive with CGC and should have been cheaper than CGC. At least right now, I would have played it out maybe for a year, see what CGC does over the next year, and see if they can actually capitalize and gain a larger market share before going up and becoming either the same price or more expensive for certain tiers than their competitor CGC. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, folks. Thank you guys for watching. And again, before we end today, I want you guys to stick around for less than 60 seconds to learn more about today's sponsor, popculturezone.com. And remember, their link is in the description below. Popculturezone.com is an online shop focusing on hot new comics, including exclusive and incentive variants, CGC graded comics, and tons of other inventory, including pop culture toys and other collectibles, all at low and competitive prices. PopCultureZone.com ships all over the US, and if you are buying raw comics, they offer flat rate shipping of only $4.99. That's right, $4.99. Absolute craziness, right? And there's no taxes included, excluding New Jersey. Pop Culture Zone is also on eBay, where they hold a 100% positive feedback rating with over 8,000 completed transactions for this year alone. Make sure to check out the link to their website below, as well as their eBay link, so be sure to give them a follow there as well.